Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and today's video, which is a versus video. Basically, if you're new to the channel, what I do is I take a brand new club and I put it up against an older version of itself, or perhaps an older version that is similar to it, with the idea to see if you could save yourself some money by going out and buying that older version and still get exactly the same performance as a brand new club. Now, I've done a few of these, so do check the channel out for them and let me, well, give you a little bit of an insight. There's really never that much of a difference because, let's be honest, over the past couple of years, technology really hasn't changed that much because they can't. They're already at the restrictions set by all the governing bodies. So it's quite interesting, these type of videos, to see actually, even though they say every year this is the best we've ever produced, it goes this, it's 10 times as far, easier to hit, all this sort of stuff, you tend to find really there might be 1 or 2 yards in it, or sometimes they've actually gone backwards. So there you go. Now, the two clubs I'm putting against each other today is my trusty Ping crossover G410 4-iron. So sort of, that driving iron-esque club. For me, I've had this in the bag for a while now, with the idea if I'm ever on a tight fairway and I just want to get up sort of near that 200-yard mark and actually have it in the middle of the fairway, I would go for this. And I'm putting it up against the club that's actually replaced it at the moment in the bag, the brand new Ping icrossover. So the same model, both crossovers, but this is the 2023 version running to 2024. And this was the 2019 version. So you've got 4 years difference in there. Now the question is there going to be a big difference when it comes down to performance, given the fact that, this is actually I think the second version after this, because you had the Ping G425 crossover in the middle. So you would have thought, with all the bold claims from all the manufacturers, there'd be quite a lot of difference when it comes down to performance from this to this. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to have a closer look at both of these clubs so you can see the differences. Then we're going to come back in here. I'm not going to go too much in the technology differences between them. Basically, if you do want to know, further information about that, check out my review, my in-depth review of this on the channel right now, and do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon because I release this review in a couple of weeks' time, so you don't want to miss that. And then we'll get down to range, throw some figures at you, what these guys come out as, and then we'll come back here and discuss an overall winner and also the findings between the two, because sometimes it's not just about distance, it's also about feel. Personally, looks does come into it, but also ease of hitting. These are both utility irons, so driving irons. They're not the easiest thing to hit. So there you go. All right, let's have a closer look at both these clubs. So there you go, a closer look at the club. And to be honest, sole-wise, they're pretty similar. There's not, I can't notice any real difference between the thickness of that. Top line as well is very similar thickness. You both got that toe weight there, as you can see. The only difference is sort of the cavity at the back here's come a lot further up, while this is a lot further down. So from behind the ball, you do tend to see that one a little bit. You don't necessarily tend to see that, especially in a 4-iron. If you're looking at sort of maybe a 2-iron, then you probably see the back of this as well. Just a little thing about the difference in technology. So if you go into the Ping website, for this, it's iron-like gearing they've got there, internal rib structure, C300 margin steel face, increased flexibility for more ball speed and added distance, tungsten toe weight, which is actually there. And then it also talked about the chrome aspect of the club. I personally, to be fair, I think I prefer that finish. The reason why, I've had this for a while now, and it does seem it's going to scuff up a little bit. Now, moving on to the ping crossover. Like I said, I will go into more details in this, well, in the actual reviews of each of these clubs. So do check out the channel for this one and this one in the future. So with the eye crossover, got margin steel face. So, if we say here, C300, margin steel face, margin steel face. Okay, so the same there. Interesting. And the idea of that CG position, lower, same idea with this. You've got the weight here. It doesn't mention anything about tungsten weight in this, though. It does mention of this toe weight at the end here, but nothing about tungsten one. It does say the face is robotically welded to the 7/4 stainless steel body with a lower hinge bend point to provide higher launch for better stopping power. A smaller internal cavity with targeted EV polymer behind the face ensures a pleasing feel and sound. Tungsten toe and shaft tip weights elevate MOI forgiveness. So there is tungsten in this as well. Don't think there's a polymer in this though. And I can tell that because this sounds very hollow, while this doesn't. It's much more muted, which is probably this polymer that's actually in it. Talking about the grooves are a lot more tighter on this and they feel a lot more sharper while they're a little bit more spread out on this club. Lengthwise, pretty much exactly the same, to be honest. Just trying to get the comparisons here rather than doing in-depth technology. So not a huge amount of difference there. Both margin steel faces, both with tungsten weights in there. All right, this does have a polymer inside it, which I do not think this does. They don't mention it on their website anyway, so this is just complete hollow construction, while this is still hollow construction, but with that polymer in the middle of it. And the main difference, to be honest, between these two, shaft-wise, by the way, that I've both got ping shafts, and I've got the Ultra in this one, CB7 stiff, and then I've got the Tor 2.0 and this one ping 8.5 stiff. So shaft is a little bit heavier than this, but both ping shafts and both stiff. You can get the Ultra one in this if you wish. But the main difference between these two clubs is the fact that you can adjust this one. But that's not necessarily a great thing from Ping. It's slightly annoying that they've done this. To be fair, I don't know why they've done this. But stock 4-iron of this is 22.5 degrees. This is 23 degrees. I always want to say 24 degrees, but no, 23 degrees, 22.5 degrees. However, this is a blue dot, by the way, which is 1 degree upright. I want to say 1.5 degrees. I think it's 1 degree upright. This, you don't get a dot. So their pings, their dot system is very good. It's really well renowned. And I always suggest with Ping, you go and get a fitting because of this. However, with this, you don't have that. They have the adjustability. So you can now increase this to 1.5 upright and decrease it to 1.5 degrees flat. So upright, you're close to it, flat, you sort of move further away from it. With the idea is it can help you draw the ball. Well, it's just your stance, basically, whatever easiest for you. But the issue with this is you can't change the loft and keep the lie the same, which is really quite annoying. I will say you tend to, with an upright one, tend to get a bit more of a draw, and then with a flat, it does tend to go a little bit more to a fade. If you just general, if you're going to have a general fitting, then that's completely different. But with this, if you want to have it in a default loft, so that 22.5 degrees, it can either be 1.5 degree upright or 1.5 degree flat. You can't have it as a normal lie. It can either be 1.5 degrees up or 1.5 degrees down when it comes down to lie, if you just want it set at 22.5. Really quite strange. I don't know why they've done that. And then if you want to have it actually as a lie 0, so neutral, you will have to have the loft up by 1.5 degrees or the loft down by 1.5 degrees. I don't really understand why they've done that, Again, you can increase the loft by 1 and have the option of having it 1 degree flat and 1 degree upright. And again, you can decrease loft by 1 degree and again have it 1 degree upright and 1 degree flat. It's a big change there. It's a big change for changing loft, which I don't understand why they've done it. I really don't. And I'll discuss that more when we do the review of this club and go into a little bit more about the lie and all the changes. Okay, so there you go. Now let's get on to the most important thing. Let's get on to the figures. So here we go. Let's get down to the range.
Here I'm down at the range with each club, and I have 3 shots each for you to see. So the first shots are from the G410 crossover. Going into the figures, we have a flat carry of 176 yards, total distance of 190 yards, ball speed of 127 miles per hour, launch angle 13 and height 67. One thing I will say about this club is it definitely popped the ball in the air a lot more than the icrossover, sorry. So really interesting the fact that it did that. Now going into the icrossover, I had a flat carry on average 175 yards, total distance of 193 yards, ball speed 128 miles per hour, launch angle 11 and height 59. So because of that lower trajectory, was definitely getting a little bit more rollout and therefore more distance with the icrossover, but not as much carry. But let's be honest, there's only 3 yards in total distance and 1 yard difference in the flat carry, so still very similar numbers between these clubs. Overall, they're both great, but I have to say from this, icrossover was easy to hit.
So there you go. Very, very close indeed. All right. Technically, yes, the icrossover does win it with 193 total yards distance, while the G410 is only 190 yards. Carry G410 is better, while the icrossover, was 175 flat carry. G410 was 176 flat carry. Ball speed on average, pretty much same, 128 miles per hour, 127 miles per hour. Launch angle was different though, and this is where it really gets into it. So launch angle was 13 degrees on average for this, only 11 for this. Yes, there is a 0.5 degree difference because I kept this as neutral, and there is a 0.5 degree difference there in the loft. However, when I increased it, I think I increased it to 1.5, so increase it up to that 24 degrees, so 1 degree stronger than this, and then I was getting the same sort of launch angles as this. So even though this is 1 degree weaker, I was getting the same launch angles as this one here at 23 degrees and not getting as much distance. So interesting. And of course that launch angle does sort of show the height. Height on average was 67 feet and height on this was 59 feet. So there you go. Longest on the day was this one at 200 yards, 177 flat carry and 200 total distance yards, 130 miles per hour. So that was the longest for this one. The longest for this one though was 179 flat carry, with a total distance of 200 yards and a ball speed of 131 miles per hour. So yes, so this again did have the longest on the day. I will just comment on it though, that the longest carry by far was from the G430. When I really nailed this, and this is a point I'm going to get onto in a second, when I really nailed this and really concentrated on my swing, I was getting a flat carry of 187 yards, total yards, and then a total distance of only 199 yards. So it had a better stopping distance because it was really getting in the air. Launch angle 14 degrees. Another one was 15 degrees, had a height of 87 feet, height of 87 feet, sorry, and a height of 78 feet. So really better stopping power I was finding than the icrossover because I was getting this in the air more. However, so if we're looking at the distance, then yes, we have the icrossover is a clear, well, not a clear winner, let's be honest, it's just 3 total yards. It's 3 yards. So the icrossover does win it. But it's not the whole picture, because when I struck this well, which I can do, and I normally do as well, I will add when I was doing the testing of this, I've just been hitting 100 golf balls with the driver, well, 2 drivers and currently testing the range. So I was tired. And this is another thing I'm going to get onto in a second. So I was tired. So when I put the normal hit that I can on this, I was getting far better carries with this and a better stopping distance than this one. And for me, that's what I wanted. I wanted a better carry with it. But as you can tell, the average is 176 total carry yards. I was not getting that every single time, because with this one, I definitely really have to concentrate on what I'm doing. If I'm tired and put a slightly worse swing on this than normal, I won't get that sort of ball that just pops up in the air beautifully. I do get punished. While with this, there wasn't too much difference between when I really put a really good swing on it and I put a little bit of a worse swing on it. So forgiveness wise, say this club is a little bit more forgiving, which is a good thing, to be honest, because let's be fair, if you're on the 17th hole, you're walking around, the UK at the moment, it's, well, pretty hot from what you normally get around this area, 28 degrees, which is around 82 Fahrenheit. You're going to be hot. You're going to be drained. Are you going to really put your best swing on that you need to put on this, on the, say, 17th hole, par 4, say 350 yards or something like that, so you want to get it 200? Narrow fairway, you're not. Well, I'm not anyway. You might do, but I'm not. But then with this, I know that if I don't, I'm not going to be that punished. I'm still going to get it down to where I need it to get, get it down to 193 yards, get it down to 190 yards, and still have it in the middle of the fairway. So far more consistent with this over this club because of that. Also, personally, feeling wise, quite different. Like, this is quite, like I said, it's a hollow construction. It makes a loud noise when you hit it well. It really does make that sort of pop, which I don't mind. Some people might. With this, with that sort of polymer inside it, it makes a lot more muted sound. Feeling wise, definitely think this feels a little bit better, but believe me, this doesn't feel bad at all. It just makes a little bit more of a loud sound. I remember when I hit it on the tournament, a friend looked at me and went, "Have you broken your club?" Because it made such a loud sort of ping noise. It really did. I didn't mind it at all, but other people might. This is far more muted because of that polymer inside it. But feel wise, not really too fussed between them. So there you go. Overall, yes, this is slightly longer with 3 yards in it. Yes, this has got more forgiveness in it. However, if you put a better swing on this, you definitely get this ball. Well, this helps get the ball pop up in a lot better. Really can really get the carry up if you put a good swing on it. If you don't and you're tired, are you going to want to use it? And that's another thing. It means that on a fairway, I'm far more likely going to want to use this because I might not have a great lie, but I know the result's still going to be pretty good. While this, I might struggle on the fairway, especially if the lie's not that good, because my confidence might not be as high, because I know that I've really got to hit it well to get the best performance out of it. So there you go. So on that sort of, guideline, I would definitely say the Ping icrossover is an improvement on the Ping G410. And normally I don't have that much of a sort of, dead cert. It is definitely an improvement. But again, it's down to the forgiveness, isn't it? Really, not necessarily distance. They both got up to 200 yards. This got some really good carry on it. Just its forgiveness is not as good as this one. And then you come down to this. And also, just saying height-wise, is that bad? I did find on really windy days, yes, all right, I could try and make it come out a bit lower, but on really windy days, I wouldn't want to use this because it did get it in the air so well. So that's another thing to think about. But yeah, 3 yards. 3 yards, and let's be honest, a little bit more forgiveness. Is it worth buying? Oh, dropped it. Is it worth buying a brand new one of these over this? So in America, you can pick this up for $249. In the UK, you can pick it up for $229. £229, sorry, brand new. This on the second-hand market, if you're looking at second-hand shop, you can pick it up for about £85. I can imagine America is about $100. So hold on, you can save yourself $150 or £100, or more than £100 over in the UK by going for that over this. Okay, now this is making me think a little bit more, isn't it? Yes, in second-hand stores, this is about £183. I can imagine in the US probably about $200, so it's not as much of a saving, but still, you're still looking about £100 and $100. And if you're looking at this type of club, you are a good ball striker. If not, you're going to probably have a hybrid, a 4 hybrid, or maybe even a 7 or 9 wood. You're not going to go for this type of club. So generally you're going for this type of club because you are a good ball striker, but you just want a little bit more forgiveness than a longer iron, which these do give. So yeah, so it makes you think, is it worth getting this over this. So is £100 on average for an average 3 yards worth it? I'll let you guys decide. Personally, I do not. I don't think it's worth it. 100 yard, what are you paying for that? It's about £30, $30 per yard. That's a lot. Yeah, that's quite a bit of money for just 3 yards on average. So there you go. Another way that you can show that, yes, all right, they have slightly improved it in this case. Yes, the forgiveness a little bit more. Yes, it probably feels a little bit better. The adjustability I do not like because it changes the lie way too much personally. However, some people might enjoy that. So you are now also got adjustability to it. But for 3 yards on average, you know, it makes you think, doesn't it? Makes you think and shows that you can go old and still get pretty much exactly the same performance as this. Now, personally for me, I'm going to stick this in the bag just because basically I'm finding it easier to hit. So if I found this just as easy as this, then I would probably keep this. But that's the only reason for it, to be honest. So there you go. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this versus video. As I mentioned, we do have a winner, by 3 yards. It is a ping eye crossover and easy to hit, and it is a little bit more forgiving. However, is it worth £100 or $100 for getting a G410 second hand? I'll let you guys decide that. Actually, let me know in the comments down below. Do you think it's worth it? Do let me know. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like. And remember to hit that subscribe button for weekly ACS golf reviews, brand new equipment, or stuff from the second-hand market, which I potentially think could be an absolute bargain for you guys. And other versus videos coming up as well. All right, guys, I'll see you soon for the next ACS golf video. Bye-bye.